Welcome to On the Blood Trail, the recap of each episode of the fall series of Chasing Weekends, brought to you by Talk About It Outdoors. Nicholas Wilson, how in the world are you?
I'm great, man. I couldn't be better. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing so splendid.
We're about to get into episode 3.
We're about to get into episode 3. For anyone who doesn't know, if you want to watch episode 3 or any of the Chasing Weekend series, make sure you go over to YouTube. And as Nick said, stop the video if you're watching this right now. Hit that like, subscribe button, and make sure you throw a thumbs up and a comment on the video if you don't care. That's one thing that's going to help us to grow big time, is to have those comments and the feedback on there. If you like it, comment. If you don't like it, comment. If you got something smart but to say, go ahead and comment.
That
it's
only
okay.
helps us.
Yeah.
But make sure you're subscribed, and you should be listening to the podcast too, Talk About It Outdoors. Make sure you're following us over there too, because that only helps us. And leave us a rating. Leave us a review. Tell us what you think about it and what you want to hear.
Yeah, we've had a great episode that we just dropped out, and or it will be dropped out after this comes out. So make sure you're continuing to follow along with us wherever you can. So,
Well, buddy, this is the last one before we get into Illinois.
Well,
we kind of and then
this. You're right.
Yeah,
this is the last one before it's a Midwest.
I mean, we are Midwest on here, but it's not full.
It's not the full blown.
It's not full.
So, we'll go ahead and start the episode, and we'll go from there. So here we go, boys.
In this week's episode, Nick heads after a local buck he's been chasing for a while now, while Alex and Cody head up to the Midwest. There's a few punches thrown, there's a few fights thrown, there's a few cussings thrown. But you know what? Them boys had a good time trying to fill the freezer for an early season success. Then Alex heads back to his local farm here, knocks down a freezer queen. Y'all sit back and enjoy. Hit that like and subscribe, and we'll see y'all on the next one.
Thank you.
What's up, everybody? I'm getting a little late start to this intro here. It's about 8 o'clock. We got in here this morning. We come over here. Our cameras kept buzzing off, and that buck that we've been hunting had been in here around 5:30. So we waited up there in the truck for a little while. Before we got down here, all we had to do was set our platform. We got in here, set our platform, and we got that bait pile right there, like 15, 20 yards, something like that. And I heard something coming, and it was still pretty dark. I couldn't get no footage of it. But it ended up being a small 8-pointer we've had on camera a few times. The Tacticam didn't take a picture of him at all. He was probably feeding for a good 30 minutes, and then a smaller, I don't know what he was, probably a 6-pointer or something, come in there, and he kind of got a little nervous, and he kind of took off. And then I heard a deer back up on the hill up here blowing. We got perfect wind right in our face. And that buck walked right over to the base of the ladder and was sniffing. I turned the video camera on, but you probably can't see nothing. It's so dark. He sniffed around, sniffed up that ladder, and never even saw me up here in this Cruzr saddle. And he turned, and he went around, and you'll probably see the footage there. He gets on that, I guess it's a little dogwood or something, but he starts raping that dogwood, horning him.
He tore it up. I mean,
just
what bug was that?
That was just a small 8-pointer. Yeah.
Pretty action-packed morning so far here at 8 o'clock. So it's only our second set in here. We ain't been in here in quite a while since Hunter killed that deer that you saw in episode 1.
Oh, got a plug.
That bug's been showing up a lot during night. I don't know. I'd say it's probably in the 120s, maybe early 130s, I hope. But
Mid-20s to upper 130s. Boy, you had a broad range there,
there's a lot
didn't
of
you?
cover in here, like a lot of ground cover. There's like a lot of birch trees in here, a lot of short birch trees. So it gives a good canopy.
It's hard to see.
The problem with that is
hard.
There's hard shots in here too. So I made this shooting lane a couple of years ago, and but everywhere else is so thick. So by the time a deer gets on top of me, I can one, either already be busted, or two, I can't move because I can't really see them coming. They'll be on you right here before you know it.
There's nowhere else to sit there at this spot. That would
they like traveling this bottom right here.
Anyway.
This bottom, there's a creek. There's a creek right past my feeder over there. There's a steep bank. They're kind of pinched right here if they come out this way. And then there's a... I wonder if anybody's ever eaten a chipmunk.
Cut it off too soon there.
There's a chipmunk right down there. I bet eating a chipmunk would be about like eating a crawfish. A lot of work, not much reward. Done a pretty good job on it this morning. Not too bad.
Hold on a minute here. I got to stop that. So, one thing that it gets a little slow in here, and you might hear this playing in the background on the podcast, but you can kind of fast forward a few seconds. Just hit that fast forward 15, 20 second button or whatever. Are you going to, pop the tail off of a chipmunk and suck the head? Or is that what you meant?
I was referring to the amount of meat. I was referring to the amount of meat that you would get off of there that wouldn't be much worth it.
Oh my goodness!
That's just thoughts from the stand from Nick.
Thoughts from the stand from Nick. I will say this. So far, this is episode 3 we're watching now. You have had some euphoric moments of prediction in here.
You would only know. That's why I left these in here, because this is what I think about.
Well, I haven't watched this episode other than getting the clips out of it, and so that's the first time I've heard that. Oh my goodness!
This is just what I think about. And yes, it's a little long. I was trying to paint the picture for everything, and I don't know. Maybe I need to shorten it down some. And
no, I love it. I think that's what it is. I mean, it's telling the story. I mean, and you're kind of describing what you did in the tree and everything else. So I like it. So back to the video here.
He's probably every bit of a 130 if I was guessing. Not really sure, but
Hey, Mr. 130.
probably every bit of it. Oh, Alex probably would have killed him, boys.
This is the very next day, man. It chilled off big time. I mean, you can see the difference in the clothes I had on, but
So Nick's locking in on one right
I'm
here.
locking in right here. Yeah, I didn't know.
Because it's so thick in there, you couldn't see what it was.
Yeah, you couldn't see nothing coming. All you could do is hear them walking in those dry leaves.
Is that a doe?
It is.
Oh, I'd have plowed her.
I know.
100%. That's game over. Big old doe. I remember putting that feeder up with you.
I'll be honest with you. I think the reason I didn't, because I think we was going to church. I was only going to shoot a big butt. Look at that broadside.
Golly.
Look at that log placement. T-Bone will be happy.
T-Bone will be tickled to
why I'm
death
doing
with that.
that.
Look, there's another deer. Golly, you was covered up, son.
I was covered up, but I told you I had to go to church.
Look at that. Caden's tagged out. Caden is tagged out on that 6-pointer. Oh, yeah. 1.5-year-old deer, not a chance.
Look at him, boy.
That doe right there is big, son. Look at that.
Look at that preparation of that log. But I put it over too far, you see?
T-Bone would be happy with that log.
That oak was in the way.
If I ain't mistaken, there's another log placement hunt on here. Is that this episode? Yeah. All right.
That's a good deer. That's a good deer for Georgia. Probably should have. He had some fight marks on his side right there, maybe.
That does look like a.
I don't know. I think it's just wrinkles.
We just had 6 deer coming here on us. 1 mama, 2 does, 1 mama, a buttonhead, and a small 6-pointer. I think it was the same buck that we saw yesterday morning rubbing that tree. I thought he was an 8, but I think he's a 6.
That's a different buck.
It could have been.
I'm thinking that other one was bigger. That looked bigger in that camera. I done shot him. Ground check.
I think a squirrel fell out of the tree. Not really I probably should have shot one of those does. I probably would have yesterday, but it's Sunday. It's 8:20. We got to get to church here in a little while. I didn't really get to do an opening because got in here right at light. It's full moon. Trying to be quiet as possible.
Uh-oh.
You got another deer coming now. Well, you had a good setup there with your camera arm and everything, the way you had that linked in.
I did. But do you see just how thick it is with that green? That's why I was kind of explaining that. You couldn't see no deer come. You could hear them.
Was that old heart thumping right there?
It was thumping every time they was coming, but I think that was when them babies came back.
Tender eating.
Should have gave that a ride, shouldn't have.
Should have gave that a ride. Fowler would have done tagged out. All right, it is Friday, October the 21st, and me and old Watson done rolled right on in to the great state of Kentucky on our way to Illinois for a little pre-game in action, and it's gonna get bloody. We've only been in 17 fights, lost 2 bicycles, and had to beat all the fat girls off the roller items at the Shell station. But
I thought that was going
loving
a different
it,
way.
and we're having a good time. You got anything you'd like to add?
I'm just ready to get up here and get in the woods. Get away
I ain't got nothing against big gals with roller items either. Let me just throw that out there.
Hey, I don't blame you.
At
I
all.
away from me too.
We're looking for a exciting weekend. It's gonna be fun. First time we've ever been here in October, so we're excited for that. If you look out the back window there, you can see the bike, the old Kaufman e-bike. We're ready to drag a doe out. We'll be with you shortly. Hey, we're here. Now here we was going to pull a camera that me and Caden had hung Labor Day. That hadn't got no pictures on it whatsoever. We're actually headed into a spot to pull a camera out. Cody, he missed a giant right here last year on the rangefinder. You can see that over on YouTube if you want to, but we're gonna go pull this camera out. We got a new piece we're going to look at.
So let's stop it real quick. I got a question.
Okay.
So this field where this camera's not taking photos is going to be in a later YouTube video, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And this is the same block of timber that he was in last year that he missed the buck shot underneath.
I want to say this is episode
7,
somewhere around 7 or 8, somewhere around there.
You want me to start it back?
Yeah, go ahead.
We're here early and we're excited. This is the new piece we went to.
Yeah.
In the middle of nowhere.
Bought this new property. It's good in some aspects. It's not what we thought. On camera. Hang in here for the evening.
Windy, boy, it was
Set,
windy.
see what happens. Mainly it's an observation. I'm going far in.
Not then.
Oh, they were not
close to
early
down on the
October.
river. Just see what happens, and make a decision after this evening whether we want to stay up here or not. So hang out a while.
Official. I lost my mind. I'm 3 sticks high on the first set in Illinois in my Cruzr
This was the very first time you saddle hunted, wasn't it?
And yes. I am set up all wrong. I get in this tree and I'm on the point of a little draw.
It was pretty right there. There just wasn't no ground
There's
cover in those
tracks all in
bottoms.
this thing, so
It was like it was all washed
Cody and
out.
we walked our butts off today. We left real early this morning, and if a deer comes in here and I get a shot at it, I'll be amazed. So anyway, there's cut beans, cut corn, CRP, thick bedding. Sometimes you just gotta laugh at it. So we'll see what happens. Stay tuned. So I'm gonna pause it right here and talk about this spot. So
Okay.
it was a piece of property that was about 45 minutes one way by the map.
Yeah.
It took us almost 2 hours to get there because we went up a road and we get to a bridge that's out. And we
Yeah.
had no idea this bridge was out when we were driving up through there.
Right.
We had to drive all the way back to where we just came from. It was about 7.5 miles around to get to this piece of property. We found it, get there, and it's a field and it's a river. I mean, there's a big, I don't know what river it was, but there was a big river bottom. Absolutely beautiful on that river bottom. I mean, CRP right up to it. We walked out there. We found some spots. Cody got on a really good spot. We jumped some deer out of that CRP, some does. They ran off. Well, we go back to the truck and we don't really know what to do. You know, we wanted to hang a camera up there and then we didn't want to hang a camera, yada, 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 went back and forth. Well, he had the bike. I told him, I said, you ride the bike. I'll just grab my saddle and stuff and I'll just jump down here on this creek bank somewhere right here at the truck. Well, I walked around, son. I couldn't find nowhere down there to hang. I got in a tree. This is the 3rd tree I'd hung in.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, it was bad. I got in a tree, didn't like where I was at. Got down, got in another tree, didn't like where I was at. Walking over there, jumped a little 8-pointer. Mad at the world at this point, and I just walked over. I said, I'm getting in a tree. I don't care. I'm just going to get somewhere where I can see. Well, I get in a tree, and I hadn't no more turned the camera off here, and there was a deer, and that was way the world across the field there. But we started seeing some deer out there, but The problem with this area is all the cover, and we didn't realize it until we got to walking. It was right on the edge of the river. It was a barren wasteland up there.
Yeah.
You can see how dry it is in
Yeah.
the video. And so we hunted here, and I told Cody, I said, you can do what you want to do. I ain't coming back up here. This is bad. So that's when we transitioned to go to
Back to familiar ground.
So
Yeah.
that's where the video picks up here on familiar ground. Well, not really even familiar ground. These are new stand sets both and I hung, but in the same familiar area. So.
Right.
Probably can't hear me because I gotta be quiet. It's gonna be short.
This is the next day.
I'm in a big bed in there yet thicket. Got deer all over me already. A couple small bucks. Some does.
Pretty spot right here.
Beautiful.
It just looked like you guys took a 963 and logged it.
Shot you in those, though. Stay tuned. It might get bumped.
That shooting lane y'all had. We'll see here in a second.
Pulling no tags.
We cut this out Labor Day, Caden.
We're gonna see what we can do.
You're sitting in the ladder stand here.
Yep,
aren't you?
I
Were
am
you
in a
standing on
ladder
the seat
stand.
of it?
I'm in a ladder stand and got my saddle on for a
You
safety
can barely
harness.
see that deer coming by.
These deer had been in front of me already.
Yeah. You're on that camera. Big nanny. I thought I slowed it down. I guess I didn't.
I think you did when I'm talking.
Oh, yeah.
Swing and a miss.
You kept yourself good. There you go. I slowed it down right here. See that luminoc? Just look at her duck right there. I bet she fell 3 foot.
It would still been high. I'd have spined her if she hadn't have dropped.
Yeah.
I mean,
I got
yeah.
excited. Shot over that doe's back, as you can see on the video. Just shot.
I don't think Cody filmed nothing the whole time we was up there. 3 days.
Saw 3. They came in. I saw them down here, and then they fed up the ridge, and they actually went the other way, and then they turned around and came back. And
Did he see any deer?
Yeah,
we
he saw a few deer.
shot high.
You know, this
So,
stand here, just looking at
about
it, your
8:30,
face,
I'm gonna
the
sit
tree,
for a little while,
but it looks like you ain't got a
See
whole
what
lot that you're looking at. Well, I don't know what's to your left there.
and we'll go
So
guys.
I'll stop right here just to kind of explain that. So what this is a finger between two fields that run all the way up to the main road. It comes back, and there's a road that cuts this finger in half. I had a camera hanging in the other block of timber all season. Ton of does, and we had a deer that we coined the name Turkey Foot. He looked like he had a turkey foot on one horn, and great 2.5. I don't think he's much than, but probably a 140-inch deer. If he made it through, he's going to be a giant this year. I'm anxious
Right.
to get a camera back in there, but this ladder stand you can't see nothing in front of you.
Yeah.
But what those deer were doing, they would work the edge of that finger on the left out to a cornfield that was in front of me, and to the right was CRP on top of the hill, and they would walk that edge. They couldn't walk through the CRP, so I knew I would have a shot there. At daylight, I had a nice 8-pointer come right underneath me. I mean, he was right just beside me walking up that same trail, and I thought, man, I could have smoked him
Yeah.
if it'd been and I could have killed him if it'd been a buck I wanted to shoot. Those deer got over in the edge of that woods, and they was a small buck running does back and forth in that thicket.
Oh.
I mean, like crazy. Too early for camera light. But then those does kind of funneled around in front of me, and they did. I was up and ready, and I videoed some of that. We left that out, but they went the other way, and I thought, man, because I wanted to shoot a doe. That was the
Yeah.
plan all along. I'd bought some extra doe tags. I wanted to shoot a doe. I ranged that spot at daylight at 29 yards. I ranged it, but I ranged the other side of that cut. Now, this is probably, what would you say, a 10-foot
Looks like it,
span,
yeah.
maybe 1 or 2 bush hog width.
Yeah.
I ranged the other side of it. I never picked my rangefinder up again. I had my sight set on 30 yards. When I saw her coming, I had set my sight on 30 yards because I thought it's a chip shot. There was probably like 22 on the other side of that cut because she was right on my front edge. I didn't account for her dropping. I shouldn't. I just stopped her and, of course, put her on alert. And, son, that was a big old doe.
That was a big old doe.
But
It's amazing how quick they can drop, though.
oh, it was, and that was just, like I said, I don't even remember touching the release. I didn't go through my motions. I get tore up on them does, and they tear me up. And they do. I mean, I'm being as honest as I can be about it. Those does, because I thought she was going to get away. And I've said all along, I said if I was going to shoot one, I'm going to kill it. But I didn't have it in my head that I was going to kill that deer, and it got away. So
Well, here's something, too, for new hunters sighting in their bows and stuff like that, too. It's okay to to have your 20 yards missing a little bit low, because as you can tell from that video how far they're going to drop. If you're in the kill zone, you know, it's okay to shoot. To
Well,
miss
I
a
was
little-
shooting her
to
with my
miss a little
30,
low.
you know, and that was the
but
problem
I'm just saying
there.
I'm just saying how quick a deer can drop, even as fast as these bows are at
Yeah.
25 yards. You
Yeah.
know,
I mean,
they're dropping out of the way.
you're going to see some deer dropping in this season for sure.
Bike in here, and I got a south wind blowing up
Another
away
awesome
from the
spot.
bedding and away from where I think they're going to
The
travel.
ditch
to.
behind me was 22
My
foot
buddy
to the bottom of it. Seemed like
on this
anyway.
one, so we'll see what happens. It's windy.
Now where I
Like a
rode
humongous tree.
that, son, I rode that bike from
And
the
I'm
other
only
side of
about
them
12 feet
hill,
off.
that other side of that field. That bike saved my butt.
I bet.
Yes.
But I'm locked in my saddle, my Cruzr saddle. I'm ready to go. So, stay
Really,
tuned
the
to see
deer
what
travel
happens.
on the other side of this ditch. Couldn't see it at this time, but that's where most of the deer travel.
Ranges.
Them big oaks are hard to get in.
We got
Son, I
redemption
cut
on my
limbs
mind
up there with a
after missing
handsaw
that
about
day.
6 inches long. I throwed it down through the woods, just laying in that ditch somewhere.
Looks like you had one of them good leaning trees.
I was scared to death in that tree. I couldn't put my arms around it. As long as my arms are, I couldn't reach around it as big as it was. It's the only tree I could get in.
I don't like a real big one.
Me neither.
These deer are about 12 miles from me.
They're 300 yards. Them deer winded me as soon as they come out of the woods, though.
Oh.
100%. They knew something was not right there.
These big old doves.
Yeah.
Got some good back straps.
They wasn't quite. They was probably 200 yards. The pretty place to watch
Was.
the sun go down and up. You got to see some pretty ones in this tree.
Grunt collar working. Can't hurt me.
This is the next morning if I didn't add it.
Yeah, it's the next morning.
Well,
We didn't have long to hunt.
about 7:45.
I couldn't fix the audio on this
and I have
grunt
not
because it was
seen
distorting
deer.
it.
So probably gonna hunt till about 8.
Phew, son, that sounded good. I love that grunt call. I really do. Richard Gunn, Wicked Hen game calls right there.
Been a fun trip. Be back in 2 weeks. After Halloween. See what happens. So, beautiful view this
I
morning.
got shaved for this year. I look terrible on camera.
I was thinking that.
Settle down
You're right
a
though.
little bit.
Cody ain't on this episode.
He didn't record, didn't film nothing.
No.
Or he lost his footage one.
Something happened to his camera, I think. He forgot it or I don't know. I think he was so hot and bothered. Tell it like it is.
Uh-oh. Come right back from Illinois. Been gone for 3 days. And what did I do? Jump right back to tree
Right back
in
in. Look at
Georgia.
them beautiful colors.
But I will say, let me say one more thing about that spot.
Yeah.
We're going to that spot, Caden, to fix a stand there. We got, me and Brock's been doing a little game planning on that spot right
Oh,
there.
really?
So that's a
You
spot
think they're
that,
gonna travel that creek bed? Is that what you're hoping?
that ditch behind me, they travel the other side of it. What that is a huge bedding area, and they travel the edge of it and come out and look into that field because they can see across that ditch. It's a little higher on the other side, and they can see out into it. So the hope is to shoot them on the other side of the ditch when they come in. But that night, I made a near-death mistake on that bicycle. I was going across that field in the dark the night before that last little clip. In my headlamp, I seen eyes, and there's several sets of eyes, and it was a coon. And I had in my mind the bright idea I was going to run that coon over with that bicycle, son. And the closer I got to it, I was bearing down on it. I had that bike pinned. By the time I got that, I thought, you damn fool, you hit that coon, it's going to flip you off this bicycle and powerbomb your ass. I swerved to miss it and hit it with my pedal. It spun them pedals around backwards, but I don't know why. But right on up the trail there, I had a deer come out in front of me. That bicycle, you got to be careful. I had a deer run right out in front of me that was going to that corn coming out of a thicket. A little bit of scary ride back on the old bicycle. On the
sucked to hit either one of them.
Well, I can tell you what, that bike saved me a 1,000-yard walk. I mean, it was at least 1,000 yards from where I got dropped off at. So that bike makes for a lot of fun.
I guarantee it.
Overdressed, son.
I can tell. Flannel.
Late October.
I couldn't find my thin vest.
I gotta wear orange vest though, because it's gun season now in Georgia, so gotta have one on. Whew, it's hot, but we're in. My camera here
Crazy, you got a gun even when you bow hunting.
Yeah.
I brought a bag of feed in, poured out. Like old T-Bone said last night, if you ain't baiting,
That like to kill me.
Scrapes and rubs everywhere. Got a big buck on camera here. Cool front came in.
Son, I had a Magnum in there.
Rained yesterday, so hopefully something shows up. But stay tuned. We'll see what happens. Making no promises, but we're looking for a biggin or a flathead. I don't care either way right now. I'm mad at them, and I might shoot a doe. So stay tuned. We'll see what happens.
I shaved between
shaved
you and
right there.
Yeah. I should have shot
Look at
this
them
deer
logs.
now. Look at them logs, placed perfectly. I had to trim a few little limbs here.
See that?
Now I'm in a saddle here, and I've got a lock-on hung too. I'm standing instead of hanging a platform every time. I had a little lock-on hanging there too. So
The leaves are beautiful.
that old DJI does pretty good filming.
It does.
It's 22 yards right there. Right here is when I would have been
So I
pinching.
should have put a time block on this.
Because it was about, that deer was jumpy, son, she was jumpy.
Look at that beautiful place log. Looks like somebody put a weld bead right down the side of that log with corn. So this deer comes in, with plenty of time to shoot. And I don't know, I do probably know what was going through your mind.
I was hoping that buck could come in there.
But, I mean, look at this broadsideness.
Perfect shot, perfect camera.
Let's let it get a little bit later.
Let the camera light down.
Let the camera light die a little bit more, and then we'll take the shot. Now I've tried to lighten it up here. That's why it's white blurry.
About 10 minutes shooting like, ooh, no tracking job needed.
So he waited a little bit longer, as you can tell. The DJI picked.
That deer I hit that deer way high, and I'll tell
Kinda
you why in just a second.
Kind of spined it here, and she's crawling off.
I hated that. I wish I hadn't hit it like that, but I nailed it that time right in the heart.
She's done right there.
Wasn't no tracking job, I can tell you that.
Little thumbs up.
No tracking job necessary. Had to put a second one in there. Don't like doing that. It got dark on me. Hardly see. Dunzo. Alright. When you think you're in shape, pretty good, come up here in the North Georgia mountains and drag you a doe out. She's laying over
That deer
somewhere.
went 10 foot off the road.
Yeah.
The bull crap.
So
You've shed some
I remember
clothes
now
from
why I
us.
don't shoot them through the week when I gotta be at work tomorrow.
It was Sunday
But she's
night.
down. More to come. All right, y'all. Another freezer queen bites the dust. Great hunt this evening. I only saw this one, and I'd already made a decision that I wanted to shoot a doe if one came in. She came in by herself, big healthy nanny. I hit high, y'all can see from the shot. Wasn't what I wanted to do. Was able to get another error in her, and but it happens. I must be shooting a little high on deer. I I missed that one in Illinois and then hit this one high. So I shot my bow and it was hitting fine, but I'm going to shoot it some more between now and this weekend when we get back out at it. So ready for some jerky.
Little skinning job here from the neck down.
Yep.
Most people don't even know how to do that.
I just always spin mine. Look at here.
Y'all get ready. The next 5 episodes, the boys will be in the Midwest. That's a nice buck right there. Cody's tagged out.
Fat squirrel. There he is. That's the one that got a.
He got a pass.
Oh,
He got a
sir.
pass on that one.
He did get a pass.
Well, that's basically the end of kind of Georgia there on that season. What'd you think?
Yeah, I know. I loved it. I mean, that was great. I you know, the trip to Illinois this time for us was different. It was hot, and it was more just to go and try out some new stuff. We had a weekend that was free, but for me, early season was very good, very successful. I mean, anytime I can kill a couple of deer with a bow in Georgia, I'm tickled to death with it, and that was redemption for me going there. But I did figure out, and I think what I was doing when I was changing my anchor, and then this goes back to what I've talked about previously on episodes, practicing from your saddle or equipment. But I noticed after I had shot my bow, I got in the saddle out here in the yard, and I was changing my anchor for whatever reason and making my shots a little higher. I shot out of it. And so one thing I did between now and going back to Illinois was I shot my bow religiously from that elevated position, and I adjusted my sight a little bit. I didn't have to change the tape, but I had to, move my sight up a little bit because my anchor was different than when I'm on the ground. And we talk about situational shooting a lot, standing on the edge of something, shooting whatever you want to do. But for me, that was a big takeaway from that. So
Yeah, and I just want everybody watching these episodes and listening to them that we put, I try to put as much information in there as I can that I feel like helpful for people. But also, I know they get a little long. Some people fast forward through them, just want to get to the kills. But, at the end of the day, this means something to us that we can go back and kind of relive that moment too. So that's kind of why I add a lot of the talking and stuff like that. Just because I know it's going to be cutting up, or it's trying to tell a story, paint a story, and you can't get everything in there. And again, that's why we're doing this podcast too, just to kind of add some filler on the back end of it. Why we left some stuff out, or why we could have done this or could have done that. So
yeah, and if the podcast gets a little long like it, because we're sitting here with it on and it's playing the video in the background, just fast forward it till we're talking again, and maybe we start pausing it till we start talking again on the video or something, whatever we do. But we appreciate you watching. We hope you're enjoying these Blood Trail series. I love it.
Yeah,
I mean, this is fun. This is, to me,
fun.
Watching these videos with everybody here is one of the funnest things we've done. I mean, it's cool, and we watch it every Sunday again, just when the drop happens. But I really enjoy these dropouts like this. It's a lot of fun. So, what else?
I'm good, brother.
We'll be back next week. Y'all follow along with us when you get a chance, and make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and leave a comment. Don't matter what it is. I don't care if you're talking crap. Just leave a comment. It's fun. We're gonna do a little video at the end of the season, hopefully reading some of these comments. So if you watch the video, make sure you follow along with it there. Come back and be with us again when you can. Later.